What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another episode of Lions Latest, where we go through the latest Detroit Lions news. And today, I have some exciting news to announce. The Detroit Lions have announced a re-signing, so let's get it started.
The city's been down, and it found a way to get up. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. We're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Welcome, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here, and I'm super excited to be back with this kind of Lions news. It feels like the beginning of free agency, like things are about to start happening. And today, we have gotten, I believe this is the first re-signing. I think this is the first news of the Lions re-signing a player. So I'm super excited to bring this to you. This video should not be super long. However, I'm just pumped to bring this kind of news. Today, the Detroit Lions have announced that they are re-signing fullback Jason Cabinda, the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the Detroit Lions, on a 2-year deal. Now, the specifics of this deal have not been put out there yet. I don't know when they will be. When they do, we'll probably touch on it. We don't have the exact numbers, but we know it is a 2-year deal for Jason Cabinda, the 26, or about to be 26, he's 25 now, 25-year-old fullback for the Lions. And I'm just super pumped to get any kind of re-signing news, but I definitely think it's a good idea to bring a guy like Jason Cabinda back. Now, we don't know the exact details of how much he is going to be getting paid, but I'm going to estimate that it's probably in the ballpark of a guy like Andy Janovich, who's making about $1.9 million per season. Fullbacks usually aren't paid that much, and not every team even has technically a fullback, so I'm going to assume it's probably not a huge deal. It's probably not a ton of money. And just look at those eyes. That's what I'm talking about, my fullback. That's the fear factor, man. You don't want to get hit by a guy like that. No, all playing, though, he does play with a great mentality. I kind of feel like his contract will fall, though, into that Andy Janovich kind of area, just based on his production last year. He was set to become a restricted free agent, which meant the Detroit Lions could place tenders on him and things like that, but they've come to an extension, so they're good to go for the next 2 seasons. I don't think it'll be over like $2.1 million, at least for this season, in terms of, you know, cap hit, because that's what a right of first refusal would have been for a guy like Jason Cabinda. They didn't do all that, so the contract doesn't seem like it's going to be super high. I don't know if he's pushing into like the CJ Ham, which is about $3 million per year. That's kind of like the next level up, but he has much more production. It is a nice little deal, especially for Jason Cabinda, because now he feels like he's, you know, in a stable place. He understands what his role is, and he can continue to improve upon that, because if you guys remember, when he came into the National Football League, he was not a fullback. He came in as a linebacker, and he transitioned to fullback. In this past season, he really took his biggest jump in terms of how much he was utilized on the field, it felt like. I mean, Dan Campbell came in as that guy that felt like he was going to utilize his fullbacks, but it was just more than that. It was just more than being a lead blocker. There was also, of course, carries as a fullback, but we even seen him line up at tight end. We've seen him line up out wide. He touched on this. We've seen him line up in many different places this past year. So this was really his biggest role with the Detroit Lions. He came in out of Penn State as an undrafted linebacker, and he talked about this a little bit as well back in 2019. He's like, man, some of the vets did not like me on this team. Over the top type of intensity. He said, even Matthew didn't seem like he liked me, but they understood where I was coming from, because I was just trying to find a way to get on the field. And then the Detroit Lions in 2020 transitioned him to playing the fullback position. This past season, his role expanded playing that position. I mean, this just feels like a Dan Campbell kind of guy. Jason Cabinda does, you know, just with the mentality that he plays with. He talked about how, you know, the coaches liked it, the way that I played, the physicality that I played with. And we saw this versatility really going back to training camp. We saw them throwing passes to him, and it was like, oh my gosh, Jason Cabinda starting to add some of these things to his game, and he started to look much more comfortable. Now, it's not like he had tons of receptions this past year. This past year, in 14 games played, he had 4 receptions on 7 targets, but he did have a touchdown. If you guys can remember, against Arizona, he caught that touchdown off of the Amani interception. Plus, he had 3 carries this year for 23 yards. That included 2 first-down runs. He had some nice runs as well. What really stuck out to me is, I mean, the guy is made to play the fullback position, and I remember when he made the transition, he liked it because now he had an opportunity to catch the football, to score some points. You know, he plays with the physicality, the mentality to play that spot just like a linebacker does. I really like about watching this guy is not even the run or the catches. It's watching him lead block, when they would line him out wide, when they would put him in motion from one side of the field to the other, and they'd snap the ball, and he'd become your lead blocker, essentially, and he would just rock somebody. I love that. There was multiple games where he did things like that, and I think the Lions love that kind of player, you know, that plays with that style. So I don't expect this to be a super expensive contract, because his role's just not big enough for that. But this past year, when we missed some guys at tight end, when Hockenson was down, things like that, for them to be able to to put him at that position. Now, he's still going to have to improve upon this area, but like he said, it takes some anxiety off of him because now he feels like he's in a more stable spot where he understands what he's going to be asked to do, and now he can improve upon that. He understands, hey, I'm a fullback here for 2 more years at least. I'm a fullback. They need me to pass catch. They need me to lead block. They need me to run the ball sometimes. I got to continue to improve that. And I thought we saw a huge improvement from him, even from the beginning of training camp to the end of training camp. He just looked like a much more comfortable pass catcher. He just looked a much more comfortable pass catcher. And then we saw it trickle into the season a little bit. He did account for 2 drops, so that's not great. But again, that's an area to work on, understanding what his role is. I won't backload much money here because it's probably not super expensive. But this is definitely a move that makes a lot of sense for the Lions. I mean, there was other options. You could go a different direction with it. We all saw Michigan State's like fullback / tight end, you know, Hayward out there, and it was like, oh, that could be kind of cool to have a guy like that. But Jason Cabinda, I mean, we saw last year that he has some versatility. The Lions really like that guy, and he really likes Dan Campbell. So bringing him back just seemed to make a ton of sense, and he's still a very young player. He said this. He said, I've never really had a coach where I can look him in the eye, and I know he'd go to battle with me. I know for a fact, like Coach Campbell, would put those pads on and go out there and play if he could. That means a lot to me because he's been in our shoes. He knows the grind. He knows the pain. He knows what it feels like after games for your body to be beat up. Now, hey, Dan Campbell played the tight end position, but I'm pretty sure he was a pretty physical tight end. He also says when he speaks to you, there's another level of intensity, of lock-in that you have because there's just a high level of respect for a man like that. So to be able to have a coach like that leading us, it's like having a freaking lead general of the army leading you into war. That's what it feels like. So I'm super, super happy that he's our coach. I mean, he's been fantastic for us. Very, very motivational. Really all those things that you could look for in a coach. So I'm excited to continue working with Coach Campbell. Very excited for Jason Cabinda. Congratulations on getting your 2-year deal. It's good to have this guy back. I'm sure he'll be part of the game plan going forward as well. But just to see some of the versatility come into play last season, it was like, wow, he can do a lot of different things. And now being able to build upon that, you know, in a pinch, you can kind of put him at different spots. And being able to improve upon that is going to give him just a lot of different things that he can do for you offensively. I like it. Jason Cabinda, welcome back. This is kind of the beginning, it feels like, of, you know, Lions free agency news. And we'll keep updated throughout the offseason when the Lions make the moves that they make. But Jason Cabinda is back. So there you go. Check fullback off the list. It's probably nowhere near need. He's here. We're good to go. And it possibly gives you a little bit of tight end of depth as well. Thank you, Pride, for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I'm out.